interview aired 2 nights later. By the next morning, it had 7 million views on YouTube alone. Comments poured in from around the world. "This kid is braver than most adults I know."
Asterisco asterisco.
"The way his voice cracks when he says, 'humiliate me,' I felt that."
Asterisco asterisco. Asterisco asterisco, this can keep happening. Asterisco asterisco.
The pressure mounted. Protests grew. Lawyers called. Politicians weighed in.
And somewhere in the shadows, Jay Mendoza watched it all unfold, heart racing with guilt and relief.
No one knew he leaked the footage, not yet. But a part of him wondered, how long before they find out? And what would happen if they did?
The internal affairs storm asterisco asterisco.
Inside the city's internal affairs division, the tone had shifted drastically. The public outcry was no longer a background noise, it was a 5-alarm fire. The body cam footage had been authenticated. The footage was real. Unedited.
Raw.
The department had no way to spin it, no technical glitch to blame. Lieutenant Monroe, the no-nonsense head of IA, called in Officer Krell for a formal interview. She had read the report. She had seen the footage. And more importantly, she had seen the public see the footage. Krell sat across from her, stiff and guarded. "I'm being crucified over a routine stop," he said, barely hiding his disdain.
Kid fit the description.
"I followed protocol." Monroe tapped her pen. Protocol doesn't include laughing while a minor is in custody. Protocol doesn't include unnecessary force. Protocol certainly doesn't include zero probable cause. "I didn't hurt him." "You didn't have to. You humiliated him, and yourself, in the process." Krell clenched his jaw. "So what, I lose my job because a punk went viral?" "No," Monroe said calmly. "You're being investigated for misconduct.
Possible civil rights violations.
Whether you lose your badge will depend on the outcome of that." Krell stood up, red-faced.
"I want a union rep."
"You'll get one," Monroe replied. "But that badge on your chest, that doesn't make you untouchable anymore."
Trattino trattino.
Meanwhile, Elijah returned to school for the first time since the incident. Cameras lined the sidewalk. Journalists leaned over barricades. His classmates stared, not out of judgment, but in awe. Some gave him high fives. Some hugged him. Teachers offered words of support. But it wasn't easy. In the hallway, someone whispered, "That's the kid from the video." And in math class, when the teacher mentioned media attention, Elijah shrank into his seat. He didn't want fame. He wanted safety.
Trattino trattino.
That afternoon, Tanya received a letter, official notification from the police department. They were opening a full investigation and launching a new civilian oversight committee. The letter was full of legal language and vague apologies. But Tanya read between the lines. They were trying to protect themselves.
Trattino trattino.
Across town, Rosa received an encrypted message from an anonymous account. It had no name.
No introduction. Just 4 words. Asterisco asterisco, I leaked the footage. Asterisco asterisco.
Attached was a secure audio file, Jay's voice, distorted but clear. "I couldn't stay silent. What happened to Elijah happens too often. And I knew if I followed the rules, it would get buried." Rosa sat back in her chair, heart pounding. This story was far from over. Someone inside the system had broken ranks. And soon, the world would know why. Here is step 7 of the story. Police officer laughs after arresting innocent teen, then the body cam footage leaks.
Trattino trattino. Cancelletto 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 asterisco asterisco step 7. Whistleblower in the ranks asterisco asterisco.
Rosa stared at her screen, replaying the audio file again and again. The voice was disguised, but the conviction behind it was unmistakable. Whoever leaked the body cam footage didn't do it out of recklessness, they did it out of principle.
Out of desperation.
"If I went through channels, it would have disappeared. They'd lose the footage, delay it, or spin it. I couldn't let that happen." Rosa reached for her phone and called her editor. "I think I have a source inside the department," she said.
A whistleblower.
Anonymous, but credible. The editor's voice sharpened. "Can we verify them?" "Not yet," Rosa said. But I believe them. And the timing lines up. The editor paused.
Be careful.
If you expose them, they could lose everything. Rosa already knew that. But what the source had done was brave, reckless, maybe, but brave. And it had ignited a nationwide conversation about racism, accountability, and justice. She decided to keep their identity secret, for now.
Trattino.
Back at the precinct, Officer J. Mendoza sat quietly at his desk. The tension in the air was thick. He could feel the ripple effect of his actions echoing through every hallway. Colleagues whispered when he passed. He caught subtle glances, unfinished sentences. Nobody knew for sure, but suspicion lingered in the silence. And Internal Affairs had issued a new internal memo. All footage access is now monitored. All downloads logged. ***. Jay knew it was only a matter of time before they traced the breach back to him. Still, he didn't regret it. Every time he saw Elijah's face on the news, every time he heard people chanting his name in the streets, Jay knew he had done the right thing, even if it meant putting a target on his back.
Trattino.
Elijah, meanwhile, had started therapy. It was Tanya's idea. She didn't want him to bottle up the trauma. She'd seen too many strong black boys turn silent and bitter from wounds no one could see. The therapist's office was warm, filled with books and soft light. Elijah sat on a couch, hands in his lap. "I feel like I'm stuck," he said. "Like the world knows me now, but not me, just the kid who got arrested."
The kid in the video.
The therapist nodded. "And who are you beyond that?"
I don't know anymore.
There was a long pause. "That's okay," she said gently. "Let's figure that out together."
Trattino.
Outside, the protests continued to grow. Not just in Elijah City, but nationwide. Cities across the country held vigils, marches, forums. #Justice for Elijah had become a movement. And with every passing day, more people stepped forward. Other victims.
Other stories.
Other names. ***. What started with one arrest, one smirk, one body cam leak, was now something much bigger.
A reckoning. Trattino. Let me know when you're ready for step 8. ***.
The council meeting and the mayor's dilemma ***. City Hall was packed. Outside, hundreds of protesters gathered with signs, chants, and camera crews. Inside, the city council prepared for what would be the most volatile public meeting in years. Tanya Brown sat in the second row of the gallery, wearing a blazer over a "Justice for Elijah" t-shirt. Elijah sat beside her, quieter than usual, eyes fixed forward. They weren't here for revenge. They were here for change. The mayor, Judith Lynn, adjusted her microphone and looked over the crowd. She was tired. The past week had been a relentless storm, calls from media, angry constituents, civil rights leaders, and law enforcement unions all demanding different things. Now, she had to walk a tightrope. "The agenda tonight," she began, "includes proposals for civilian oversight, funding for community de-escalation training, and the suspension of Officer Krell pending investigation." Cheers erupted. So did jeers. From the back, a police union rep shouted, "He followed procedure." A protester yelled back, "Procedure is broken." The mayor raised her hand. "Enough."
Trattino.
Then, Tanya stood. She hadn't planned to speak, but her body moved before her mind caught up. The room quieted as she walked toward the microphone. "My name is Tanya Brown," she said. "My son, Elijah, was arrested without cause. Slammed against a car. Laughed at. Not because he broke the law, but because he matched a profile." She held up a photo of Elijah from the school's honor roll assembly. "This is the boy they treated like a criminal." Gasps and murmurs filled the room.
"I'm not here for your sympathy. I'm here for your action."
Don't just suspend one officer. Change the rules that allow this to happen.
Hold them accountable.
All of them.
Trattino.
Meanwhile, Rosa received another encrypted message from her whistleblower. This time it included internal emails, ***proof** that higher-ups in the department had seen the body cam footage days before it went viral. Proof they had chosen not to release it. Proof they planned to bury it. It was a bombshell. and Rosa knew she couldn't sit on it. She called her editor. "I have something new. It's bigger than just Officer Krell."
Trattino.
That evening, news of the council meeting and Tanya's powerful speech went viral. The mayor held a press conference promising immediate reforms and a full investigation into departmental misconduct. But behind the scenes, tensions were rising. The union threatened lawsuits. Officers began calling in sick. Whispers of a blue flu rippled through the department. And in a quiet apartment across town, Jay Mendoza sat alone, watching the city shake from the truth he released. He knew things would get worse before they got better. But maybe, just maybe, this was how change began. The department cracks ***. Inside police headquarters, the atmosphere had turned to ice. Following the mayor's press conference and Tanya Brown's now viral speech, the department's leadership faced a choice: start cleaning house or get burned to the ground. The leaked internal emails, now plastered across the media, confirmed the worst. Senior officials knew about the body cam footage. They didn't just delay its release, they intentionally suppressed it. Officers emailed one another about minimizing PR damage and controlling the narrative. It was no longer just about Officer Krell. It was about a culture that protected him. Public trust had plummeted. The mayor called an emergency meeting with the police chief and internal affairs. She gave them a blunt ultimatum. "Either you handle this, or I will." That same night, Chief Donovan announced a temporary leave to avoid conflict during the investigation. But no one was fooled. He had been forced out.
Trattino.
Meanwhile, Jay Mendoza couldn't sleep. He knew the department was combing through access logs.
Every keystroke. Every download.
Every employee with video clearance was being audited. It was only a matter of time. He tried to stay focused, tried to act normal, but every time his phone buzzed, his heart dropped. Every knock at the door made his stomach turn. One evening, as he was walking to his car, he noticed a plain black SUV idling down the street. The next day, he received an official letter. "You are being placed on administrative leave pending an internal review."
Asterisco.
It had begun.
Trattino.
Elsewhere, Rosa sat at her desk preparing for her next broadcast. This one wouldn't be about Elijah. It would be about the system that protected his abuser. She would name names, show the timelines, reveal the chain of silence that allowed Officer Krell to stay on duty for so long. Before going live, she made one final call, to the encrypted number she had received messages from before. "I'm airing it all," she said softly.
"Are you ready?"
A pause. Then the voice, Jay's voice, distorted again. "Do it."
"Just don't say my name." Trattino.
At home, Tanya and Elijah watched the chaos unfold on television. Elijah had stopped speaking during these broadcasts. He watched in silence, fingers clenched, chest tight. Tanya placed a hand on his shoulder.
"You still okay?"
He nodded. Just overwhelmed.
"Yeah," Tanya whispered.
"Me too." They had wanted justice for Elijah. Now it looked like the city itself might burn down to give it to them.